All right, guys. I'm on air. You can see me now. And I hope this makes a little bit more entertainment for everyone out there that's been listening, supporting, subscribing, all that jazz. So obviously this is going to be a little bit different because we actually got a video of me sitting here in the makeshift studio with the new camera. Got some fancy mic stuff coming for you guys to try and clean up some things. Hopefully that didn't disrupt the audio recording. But hey, so I was getting done with work today, teaching a bunch of people. Let's see, how many lessons did we run over today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. Yeah, we got about 10 lessons with a total of about 7.5 hours of instruction today. A lot of good lessons, some positives, some new, some breakthroughs, some fun, a lot of good things out there. But I was saying to myself, you know what? Screw this. We're going to go ahead and start filming out some video, let everyone really see who Derek White is. Anywho, so I jumped online. I figured, hey, what the hell? We got golf.com, and they've got some instructional stuff for us. So let me back this up. So if you go to golf.com, literally right now, or if you've already been there today, you go to their homepage, they got all their stuff going on, right? Of course, they're a big banner of everything equipment-wise, which funny thing about equipment, right? I mean, basically, equipment manufacturers keeps me in business. There's no doubt. Gotta love the offset. So today it's talking about some TGL stuff. Looks like one of the Milton went out there, first time ever experiencing the event, which is TGL. But I want to go ahead and jump into the instruction stuff here. So we got some classics. Now we can go and float onto any website. We can jump on YouTube. We can just see what's out there and just really create, what's my take on some of these things that you might come across on the web, right? So we've got, I like this one. This is one easy tip to help you start hitting longer and straighter drives. Okay. So that's interesting. I was literally just looking at this before I started recording this, and they've already changed the title of this. Kind of interesting. Now, the next one is how to fix your slice with just a simple setup change, which can be true. A lot of good things have got to happen there, but my take would be, before we look into it, I would say they're probably going to talk about shoulder alignment, maybe a staggered right foot position, and or the classic just strengthen up that grip. Now, with that being said, let's look at, we got the, is the broomstick putter right for you? Is it? I don't know. I'll tell you this. When I'm dealing with putting stuff, and you guys have probably watched a lot of the shorts, I'm not really against anything. Try anything. Go after whatever you think is going to work for you. But ultimately, remember, you got to know if it aims, and you got to have the swing weight right. You got to be fitted. You got to know that those factors, distance and direction, right? Now, when I start seeing pros mess around with, broomstick putters or the old anchor or arm barring or the claw, whatever we got going on, when someone's messing around with their putters, their style of putting, their philosophy, their method of putting, they're struggling with their putter. They are struggling with the flat stick, right? I mean, you go back in time, you didn't hear pros complaining about putters or complaining about certain clubs because that's all they had. They all had to learn to use the clubs that the manufacturers were making. A lot less back then, right? So there's standard lengths, there's standard lies. I mean, everyone had to basically work with what they had. But now there's so many choices. It's like going to the Cheesecake Factory. It's like, like this. Look at this menu here. It's so many things. I just don't know what to get. I know I want cheesesteak at the end, but I don't know what I want for an appetizer and entree. So anyway, big menu, lots of options. That's America. Now, when you go and look at putting, there's plenty. There's plenty out there. There's books for days, methods for days. We've already had some talk about aim point. But again, when you're looking at a tour player and say you want to follow a tour player and really look at maybe taking some of his method or philosophy or style or his equipment, look that guy up a little bit. It's really easy if you just gotta go back and find pictures of the players or just maybe dive into someone who's done an article on it, is if they're moving around with lots of different putters, again, if they're messing with a lot of different methods and techniques and styles and routines, they, again, are struggling, and I would steer clear of that. I would stick to somebody who is great putter, very consistent with the product that they're using and the method that they have, right? I mean, first that would come to mind would be like Steve Stricker. Where did Tiger Woods go when he needed a little bit of help? He went to Steve Stricker, right? I mean, we got Brad Faxon. I mean, I've never really thought of him as the greatest putter out there, but he definitely has a good method, and it helps a lot of people on tour, as well as the product he's putting out to help the amateurs that are looking for, a good method for improvement. But the tip I got from Ben Crenshaw, I've been fortunate enough to meet him a few times. He probably will never remember me, but it was the first time I remember him. It was funny. I said, "Mr. Crenshaw, what's going on?" And he's like, "I'm just working on my putter." I was like, "You working on your putter? You're one of the greatest putters of all time. Still can get better." I mean, that's him in his, his elder years. He's still working at putting. But the tip, I asked, I was like, "Well, if you could tell anyone a tip, what do you say?" And I've already mentioned this on the channel, is I actually titled it Golf Thumbs. So the big thing he told me was try not to put a lot of pressure on your thumbs. Now, I've been lucky enough. I've come across lots of different tour players and just famous people of this game that have all given me great nuggets and or tips. And I hope to, give a lot of that out to you guys. But before we get so deep into this, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to have fun with this slice one. I really want to see what this has got to say for us tonight. But again, the broomstick putter, you got to remember, all of us as amateurs, some of us don't have, big fat pockets. Some of us have, empty pockets. We pull our pockets out. So, I mean, going and doing these putters and going and messing around with all this stuff by just going off the shelf. I mean, if you got the means and you can go ahead and do it, go right ahead, try it out. But I would tell you, everything that you just go and just randomly go and do, because you saw it on television, because the guy who just won this week, that brings me to whole, what was it? Jailbird. Everyone's got the Jailbird. And what's Ricky Fowler using now? Oh, that's right. He's using Swing Lab now. The next big craze, big old block of aluminum, an Omega size thing. And the MOI on that thing has got to be ridiculous if we went to test it. But hey, it's cool. It's a new fad and everyone wants it. They're the next best thing since sliced bread. But getting back to the point, you want to go and get fitted. You really want to sit down with a professional and work with them to really figure out what's going on with your putting game. A lot of us are, just messing with one putter to the next, to the next, to the next, and not understanding that, is the putter working for us correctly? Is the swing weight right for us? Do we have a method? Do we even have a way to even practice putting? Which I guarantee pretty much 90% of you do not really practice your putting as much as you think you do. So again, get to the reality of that. So anyway, get with somebody. But if you just want to go off the shelf, you're just going to keep spinning your wheels, frustrating yourself, and you're going to keep coming back around and saying something's wrong with my order, right? So ask for ketchup, please. Yeah, ketchup. And just remember, it's a Cheesecake Factory menu out there when it comes to putters these days, as well as we can get in shafts, grips, everything out there. But let's jump into this. So slicing the ball primarily happens because of poor fundamentals at setup. Okay, I'm getting down with that. I'm going to click into this article and see what it's going to say here. It's got a classic image of a player holding out his forefinger, basically saying, hey, my ball is not going into the fairway. All right, so let's see. Every golfer has struggled with a slice. Now, I know a few people that haven't struggled with the slice. They're just naturally born hookers, which that has its own problem. But, whatever. Yes, there's a large majority of people that favor the slice when they start out, due to a lot of just basic fundamental errors that they do have. So agreeing on that opener that they have. So let's see here. Most commons dread the slice, high handicappers and beginners. If someone shoots over 100 on a regular basis, there's a good chance that they have a consistent slice. It kind of makes me think of the student coming in saying, I say, what's wrong? What's the problem? Get the classic, I'm inconsistent. In reality, they're very consistent with the mechanics that they do. They just don't have a result that they want. And that kind of makes me think of that consistent slicer or habitual slicer that you could say, right? So let's see. Let's get to this tip. How to fix the slice. All right. We teach a lot of high handicappers. Let's see. High handicappers. Okay. Many of them, a slice is typically, let's see, ball flight. Let's get to the root of this. All right. We want to set up with your shoulders slightly open, with your shoulders tilted about 15 degrees. Okay. So the start of this, if you're a right-handed golfer, your left shoulder. If you're a lefty, your right shoulder. So we'll just say lead shoulder to help anyone out here. So your lead shoulder, they're suggesting to open up, and then you're going to tilt and create secondary bend, or basically your secondary angles of your spine are going to tilt away from the target at an angle that's set at about 15 degrees. Okay. So right there, we're adjusting the arm position. Now, things to keep in mind is that, so they're telling you, and we don't know anything else yet. We're just kind of jumping off the first couple things of what to do that we need to change. We can see, obviously, the shoulders are going to be slightly. Well, the thing is that because of the type of grip you have, it's going to already naturally set your shoulders in a rightward angle or a tilted away position from your target. And it's going to open the shoulders because your lead hand will be higher than your trail hand. So that already naturally happens. Now, what they're doing in this is they're suggesting to increase the tilt more than normal. 15 degrees is quite a bit of angle. So it's basically changing the geometry of your position at address to increase a higher probability or outcome of swinging shallower and, in a sense, more in to out across your target line. So these are some good things. They're definitely some good things. Let's read along a little bit further. Let's see. What do they got going on here? With almost all chronic slicers, their shoulders are more open and level in relationship to their target. The SEP recipe for hitting that dreaded banana ball. Okay, so they're basically describing here is that they're saying that your shoulders are too level and you tend to be too open. The whole thing about that, I mean, when you read these things, if you don't understand how a grip position or how you hold the club influences the geometry of your swing, this can be dangerous for you. Now, if you have very high golf IQ, or you present this to, say, a mentor or coach, an instructor, teacher, they might be able to help explain this to you. But let's dive in a little bit more. See if they lay out anything else. Okay, so let's see. To fix this, right? So to fix this, we're opening the shoulders and we're tilting a little bit more. Let's see. We want to close the lead shoulder slightly. Okay, so now they're describing that we actually want to close the shoulder, move it toward the ball. Okay, so it's referencing your target line, your ball, your shoulder is going to move towards the ball. So basically you're pre-closing your shoulders. All right. Let's see here. And then we want to twist the lead arm toward the target until the elbow is pointing to the flag. Now that's quite a bit. So if this player, let me see if they talk about grip before I start smashing into this. To help you get in this position, but you want your lead arm, okay, strong. Okay, here we go. To help you get in this position, okay, but put your lead hand more on top of the club. So there it is, the stronger grip. That's what I was worried about. So if you started doing this and you didn't read further along, you could have done some damage. And I'll explain how the damage could have been done to a person reading this that is working on trying to fix their slice or banana ball. So we want to do that before every swing. Should get a little closer to set up numbers and see with the pros. Once you get this setup position down, you should start to see more neutral. See neutral ball flight. As easy as that. Okay. All right. And it is suggesting to go see a coach. So kudos there. I'll tell you what, if you want to find the shortcut to getting better quicker, you need to get with somebody who already knows how to do this stuff. And those are going to be your certified pros. Now, so this is good. All right, now let's understand this real quick. So if you're trying to fix a slice and setup as they're presenting, that is pretty much their the clickbait, I think is what people call it. So it's like, oh man, I have a slice. Let me look at this article, man. Let's check it out. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, man, I gotta totally get my shoulders closed and more tilted, and then I gotta do the strong grip. Now think if you've taken a lot of lessons, that's all you ever hear. Again, the thing about pieces like this. Now, the people that wrote this article, let me see if I know who wrote this article. Give me a second here. Yeah, so I know who wrote this article. I know him very well, actually. I've had dinner with him quite a few times, and I could probably text him right now and tell him I'm reading his article here. But anyway, so here's the thing. So it might be just how golf.com wants it to be. That, kind of leave it a little open, just kind of fluff piece it through. But again, you need to have, you need to have golf IQ to understand what happens when you start messing with your grip and your shoulder alignment and your overall relationship to your target. So it's saying first, we need to close the shoulders down. We need to increase rightward shoulder tilt about 15 degrees. Now you can't measure that. So it's obviously you'd have to go to a place that can measure it, but just say you have super increased tilt. Now, with that, your perspective to the ball is going to change quite a bit. So you're going to start feeling like you're hanging back. Now, a lot of players will actually start to put their weight back on their trail foot to make that adjustment, okay? So there's all these things that can start going wrong. But before I go into a massive tear of getting on that, let's just actually go more to the meat and potatoes of this. So when you take your lead hand and you begin to bring it over top, okay, so it's suggesting to create a stronger grip. We have to make sure we're keeping the grip in the fingers and not in the palm. There's a lot of, leverage, position, and face control there and overall release techniques. But let's just say you can keep it in the grip, keep the grip in the fingers, and you can get your palm over top as they're suggesting. Well, when that happens, that's going to naturally change the angle of your shoulders unless you try to counter it. So if you held the club out and you allowed your arm to rotate, instinctually your shoulders would want to tilt a little bit. Okay. Now, also when you do that, that starts to create the lead elbow to point more outward towards your target. Now, they're going as far to really set you up in this. So very close. So they're not saying anything with your lower body, thank goodness, because that would create a whole new disaster of why you can end up developing a nasty little slice. But they're trying to encourage you to extremely close the shoulders, create strong grip to kind of hold that, and then advise that the elbow is going to point to the target. So we got the ball going, or shoulder going to the ball, the elbow going to the target, super strong grip, extremely tilted. Yeah, you were basically setting up like Mo Norman at this point, just super loaded up, everything's out, and you're going to feel ridiculous with this. Now, I'm not saying that this can't correct a slice in the moment, but it would not be the way you'd want to go in the long run. Okay. You want to understand first why you're creating a slice. So cause and effect is everything that I work with my students and helping them understand what is happening within the physics of the moment of truth, your contact, what the club is doing, but then going backwards and finding, where upstream is the problem and then working from there. Is it grip? Is it set up? Is it, how your hips are setting that are controlling how the shoulder tilt's getting jacked up. But I mean, ultimately, I would say if you're reading this, not bad, but it's going to feel awkward. It's going to be very hook bias. And in most players that I see, let me rephrase that, 99% of players are going to come in and they're going to have a club face aim problem. There's no question that they're going to have a club face aim problem. Hence my little joke earlier with thank you manufacturers, because I'll always have a job because of the offset. So what happens is you create the offset of the hosel, right? That you're going to close your club face to try and create in a sense, like a right angle or straight line alignment that's going to close the face. To you get so used to that, you don't realize that club face is closed. It just looks square to you. So if we have that involved with this, we're going to go with high face contact, which means high launch, low spin, and a gnarly little hook. But you would have made a change, and this would have been a trusted source. Now, I know this coach. He is a great instructor. He works with some tour players. I wouldn't say anything ill, so I wouldn't doubt that what was going on here was a fluff piece, really quick. But, we always got to make sure that the people reading these things understand that this isn't the end. This isn't how you want to hold yourself as a way to fix the slice. You really want to go and get some help, get analyzed, basically. And that's where I like at the end of this piece, it actually does say, if you want to really correct yourself, go and get guidance by a coach. Okay. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys saw my take on that. I can get really upset about this with articles like this. Now, let's have some fun. I want to definitely see what do we got for some more distance. This has got to be funny. Oh my gosh. This is going to be good. All right. So I won't go through the nitty gritty here. Let's see. All right. Let's get out of the weeds here. All right. A quick tip to adding swing speed. All right. So this is whole low and slow back. They're talking about Berkshire. Basically you're asking, let's see it. Lots of time make it tough to get energy into the club head. Who coach world long drive champion. Okay. So Najjar, who is the coach for Kyle Berkshire. So it looks like he might be talking about this. Let me see. After watching me take a couple swings. All right. So Berkshire's talking here. And there's no joke. Berkshire is incredible. He is a freak of nature when it comes to the WLD. I've done some long drive contests in the past. There's some guys that I know personally that have done and have actually been successful, won some local events. And I currently do teach some long drive competitors on the men's side, and then also on the women's side. And we talk a lot about some of the best in business and how we kind of all learn together to increase speed and consistency. And it's a tremendous amount of fun working in the high speed category of golf, outside of just learning how to hit straight and lowering your scores. So, jack of all trades, as I would say as an instructor, I'm not afraid to work on any area of the game. So, let's see here. So, we got basically one of the world's fastest swingers of the club head, has won plenty of tournaments or championships within WLD. Got his coach talking here. Let's see where the meat and potatoes are with this. Okay, to help teach me correct feel. Okay. After watching me take a couple swings, let's see, I was setting my wrist later in the backswing than I'd like. He told me to focus on setting the wrist, and I'm surprised golf.com's letting this language be around. This is got to be careful with language, but the old cocking of the wrist, the club back earlier in the backswing instead of, let's see, help generate that quicker takeaway. Okay, it's kind of interesting. I don't think they're really helping the average player. This looks more like in an entertainment piece. So it's saying, here's how you can get some more speed, but it just really seems like you're just learning what Kyle Berkshire has done for speed. So let me see if there's a little more in this. This kind of sucks. This isn't really a great article. It's kind of excited to dive into this. I want to see what they're going to say. So, I mean, basically what I'm taking is for Kyle to get faster, his coach is telling him to set his wrist faster in the takeaway. I don't know how that's going to gain any more speed. The thing you have to understand in the physics aspect of this is that when you're standing still, you are called stored energy. You are already in stored energy mode. When you go to move, okay, you're becoming dynamic. So you're creating now load, which turns into potential energy. Now you're trying to take your stored energy and convert it into kinetic energy through building potential energy. Now, why do we say potential? Is because there's no absolute or guarantee that you are going to release all of that energy at maximum efficiency. Nobody could anyway, not even this guy. the best in the business with Berkshire or WLD, like hitting the ball a long way. I mean, we see a lot of stuff on YouTube now where guys are approaching ball speeds 220, 230, which I have not seen in competition. So one-offs or manipulation or some kind of shadow play in the systems. Again, TrackMan and Foresights and all these launch marks, these are not perfect systems. They can get misreads. I've seen it plenty of times where I've worked with guys and gals that are focusing on speed for these type of events, and we get the ballistic number that shoots off where we get ball speeds that are registering up at around 230 to 250. Club head speed reads negative almost. Like it's actually a club head speed of like 5 miles per hour with the ball speed. Ridiculous. But again, I'm not saying that there's anyone out there is posting this stuff is trying to lie to people. I mean, they legit saw a number, but typically you don't see it accompanied with all the other numbers. So normally you see basically almost like zeroed out numbers across the board, but that one number shows up and, hey, I want 1 million views and I'm that guy, and I post it up. Everyone freaks out. But again, you're not seeing it in competition. So once it shows up in competition, I'll believe that a human is able, with a conforming head to WLD, meaning that it is a legal head, is able to produce those kind of ball speed numbers. It is astronomical to think someone can put ball speed numbers up with the current set design of the head or the rules of the head. 232. That's ridiculous. So again, be careful seeing that stuff. But I would never tell one of my speed players that, set the wrist as quick as possible. I mean, in reality, you're going to create more disconnection. You're going to create tempo areas of tempo issues. And biggest killer of a golf swing is always going to be tempo. Remember that. Always remember that tempo kills golf swings. So joking on that is like if you're in a match play with a friend and you guys are playing, whatever it is, a couple of bucks here and there. If you want to get under the skin of the competitor you're going up against, your friend, your uncle, your dad, your girlfriend, maybe, just start messing with tempo. Easiest way, you can watch it on tour match play, which there's more match play events. I'm really sad that, here in Austin, we lost the match play event with the WGC kind of going under with Liv taking over and all that jazz. It's a bummer for sure. But if you watch the classic battles in match play, you'll notice tempo changes within the player. So you could basically like speed up your walk or get to your ball faster. You can do all kinds of crazy things to kind of throw a player off who's playing too slow or too fast. Or you can do the opposite. You play slower than normal to try and get in the head of the player. And there's also the approach shots in the greens, tricks and stuff like that. But we can go on that a totally different day. But let me double check and make sure I didn't miss something here. But I would tell anyone, if you're reading this, I wouldn't worry about trying to set your wrist faster. You're more than likely going to limit your rotation. You're going to pull your right arm in a lat motion so your elbow gets behind you. You're going to cup too quick with probably a big, nasty forearm roll. Your wrist is going to snap into an extended position. And at that point, your club face is opened and you're too flat, and you're immediately going to try and come over the top, and you're going to do all kinds of or let's say hellacious adjustments or compensations at that point. But let's see, if we're always looking to squeeze a few extra yards out of our drives, if I couldn't hit it a little further, this is basically easy way to add speed. Check it out below, like it hurt, blah, blah, blah. I mean, more or less just shooting. It's like a couple of swings. No, it's not cock. So basically it's just saying cock the wrist. Cock the wrist faster in your backswing. Let's put it like this. If you want to get faster, first off, you got to learn how to swing faster. And learning faster, it's the funny thing. A lot of people are like, how do you gain speed, Derek? I'm like, you got to just learn how to swing faster. And this is already out there. We already have speed trainers. We got my boy Adam here in Austin, who's a speed trainer. So look him up online. He's got his own thing. He knows about speed. I trust him. I'm trying to work to send one of my long drive competitors over to him to increase speed. He really focuses on it. So say more if he is a master of it. But the biggest thing that I would tell anyone looking for speed is, first off, learning how to swing faster is to learn how to swing faster, meaning that you need to learn to fire your muscles faster. Okay? You can take all the weight in the world Okay. And then I do weight training to help with muscle feedback to the brain, so the brain can figure out what muscles need to fire. But that's all weight is going to do, is help you really feel the firing of the muscles, so you can start connecting the pathways to create a new habit, basically, formulate the neural pathways, you could say. But if you want to learn to swing fast, you're better off just swinging lighter. Get something like, you could take your old driver head. Nowadays, everything detaches, so you could take your driver head off, flip it over and hold it at the connector or your Opti fit end. Hold that and swing it fast. But make sure you stretch like crazy. You got to stretch really, really good before you start swinging fast or swinging really at all. But I want you, if you decide to do this, I mean, get that out of here. Just learn to swing faster by swinging faster. So that means you take something a little lighter. Your driver shaft is going to be great, or you can flip over your three ways. One way I used to do it, and just swing, listening to your whoosh technique, whooshing, and just hearing that whoosh, whoosh, come on by, right? So if you're going to get more distance, you just got to learn to fire your muscles faster. That's the only way you can do it. I mean, these guys are all yoked out, but I mean, yeah, strength has something, but the weight of the club isn't really changing that much, and it's really more the physics of it. You can get a guy like me, wiry and tall in there, banging it out, as long as I can learn to fire my muscles faster. It's all it's going to take. It's all it's going to take. Now, for that, I thought I had fans. I did. I thought I had fans. My subscriber list is getting blown up right now. We're almost at 50. That's too good. I like playing with that stuff. Hopefully I'll get some new ones in there. All right, so let's get back. Since that one was a bust, I'll go ahead and try one more. Maybe we'll see what we got. Oh man, this is just like a buffet of just awesome shit to look at and figure out what I want to say. We got lifestyle stuff, TPC, trophy size pretzels. What's up? The Masters menu is coming, people. Like, for real. You better get ready for that. I mean, it is. Yep. Let's do this. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait for Masters. I hope everyone else is getting pretty excited. Players, I made some pretty strong predictions. I will admit this, that I did not predict Rory was going to finish in the top 10. Anyone could have asked me all week long, I would have said, no way, no chance in hell. He just doesn't, he just isn't, he wasn't looking sharp enough, in my opinion, with the driver. I still think that his driver's creating a problem for him. It's been going on for a while. I mean, we can go deeper back when he made the switch to Nike, which I wouldn't doubt Tiger was pulling on him to do that. But something's up with this driver, and I hope he gets it really, really figured out. Obviously, he got it dialed in as he progressed into the weekend, made a big difference for him. Irons got a little shaky, but the playoff wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, really, he survived that. But Major, good job. I mean, he made some adjustments. That's awesome. But the Masters predictions is going to be an interesting one that I'm going to play with. So anyone coming by the shop, ask me and I'll tell you my opinion. I actually had Sepp in there. He was going to finish strong. He played pretty well. I thought he had the best chance of winning it. He was best off the tee, and he was best with long irons on GIRs. These are things you got to understand when you're trying to. It's just a little bit of a tear, so bear with me for 1 second. So when you're looking at predicting players, now you get all the odds. You can go to golf data golf. You can go through all that. But if you're trying to figure it out on your own, you got to understand the course they're playing. If you don't understand the course they're playing, or have played it, or been there, or just got enough knowledge from watching the events, each course has its own way of defense, and it's a PBDI. I mean, middle finger PBDI courses. If you want to get your ass reamed, Sawgrass is awesome. That's a destination course. Definitely play that. But go shoot up into Maryland. Go play Bully Rock, and you will feel what PBDI can really do to you, especially when you grow up the rough and they're up the fairway. So PBDI used to be an LPGA event. If you're in Maryland, definitely suggest you check out that track. It will make you feel you'll need tissues. You'll need tissues to play that golf course. That's for certain. But again, you have to understand like a player's ability to the course of, if it is a course that is more off the box focus, they need to be very accurate with their tee shots, very accurate with it. Courses that play longer, if you're looking at certain players, like you want a dark course and they're not long off the tee, you want to see what their GIRs are from 150 out. There's all these factors that you go in. So Sepp, to me, when I was looking at his numbers, like, I'm a no bird guy, 100%. I think this guy's going to be great for golf. I'm really excited for him to continue rolling. I'm starting to think maybe he's just maybe too lackadaisical. He's a little bit too laid back. I think if he just took himself just a peg up more and really honed in, that kid could be a generational player. Really, he could be like a Scotty. Another Tiger Woods is going to be taking some time. Another Jack, it's going to take some time. But he definitely could be part of that generational stuff. Like, people will definitely mention his name in the future. But if he goes one more peg up, he could even be better than that. But I would have picked him, or people would have thought I would have picked him, but I didn't. His numbers for that track just don't line up very well for where his game is now, especially off the tee. That is definitely a target course off the tee, and then it is very difficult to hit those greens if you get out of position. So you want to have then also a fantastic up and down game. You got to be really strong with your short sticks to survive out there if you're not putting yourself in the right positions. Then obviously, putting, you got to be able to putt. You got to be able to roll them in. So with that all being said, let's jump one more time. Let's see what we got here. Anything else? Let's do the death move for 100 yards. Here we go. We'll bang around with this. This should be pretty fun. Let's see here. Don't make this pitching mistake. Okay, pitching mistake. Got some good images here. Let's see what we got. Looks like they're doing some reels here. How many times have you crushed a drive and only found yourself, let's see, excitement. Let's see. So basically it's describing like, okay, you went ahead and you crushed a drive and then you got this little shot in there. You got the wedge shots, anxiety inducing. I don't know why they are. Oh, I know why. Because you don't practice them. Just practice your wedges. Hit targets. Don't hit the same distance over and over again. Grab all your wedges, lay them out just outside your bag, and just have big bucket balls and just go like 100 yards, 90 yards, 70 yards, 60 yards, 35 yards. Just keep banging them out. And I will be bringing out the body clock system soon enough. So everyone's going to learn from that. I already have students that implement it, and it just totally takes their short game to another level. And it's a very easy system. So with that system, if you love mathematics or just thinking of formulas, it's the best system that I think I've ever created for short game development. So we'll be getting that out pretty soon. But anywho, let's see. Okay, the move. Something to follow anything from just after impact. Video below. Looks like it's a video. All right, don't make this mistake. Pitching. Habit of amateurs have developed some of them going to see wrong in the backswing. Okay, talking about backswing, which is good. And they shut the club face, sometimes less noticeable. Many players instinctively hit and break too early. Oh, okay. This is nothing new. All right. So all they're describing here is in the backswing, they might be hooding the club face, which is a big problem. A lot of people are so fixated on hitting the ball straight, which you do in wedges. There's so much backspin, your gear effect. It's going to maintain the ball in more of a straight line than a lower spin shot. But again, you don't have a lot of speed. But again, the misses can become a little bit more detrimental because you're getting closer to your hole or closer to the green. So a 1 degree miss is much larger than if you're back a little bit further. But anywho, so with that being said, let's just talk about the main one. They're just talking about basically you're just extending your wrist. Okay, the problem everyone faces is that they get the mindset of lofting. Okay, this is the big problem. Everyone thinks that they need to loft a shot. In reality, you do not want to loft shots. Okay, you actually want to de-loft your shots. Oh, Derek, no kidding. Punisher drill and I'm supposed to flex my wrist when I hit. Yeah, I understand all that, but what do you mean? Well, duh. I mean, what I mean is, yeah, you could flex all day, but it's the mindset's perception. You're trying to do what you see a tour player do, but ultimately tour players do this all day long. All day long. They are using their wrists like nobody's business, extending the wrist, flexing the wrist, neutralizing the wrist, different grip styles, all kinds of things to play short game shots around the green. So in reality, you actually want to have extension in the wrist when you're playing, but it's understanding how it works that's important. But for anyone who's a beginner or just struggling with pitch shots in the beginning, you want to stay with the neutral position. You want to learn to control the bottom of your swing, meaning the low point where the divot's supposed to form, right? We all know that we strike ball and then go to the ground, create the divot after the shot. So that's where you want to start, and then go and get a coach. And then you start learning how to mess with all the different wrist angles that you could potentially have. So simply get the basics of a pitch shot. Ball roughly in the middle of your stance, slightly open. Place, most people are going to suggest like a 50-50 position. This they're just talking about wrists, like all kinds of silly shit. So there's no point in just wasting our time reading this article. But again, it still says, thankfully, go see, I think this one says, go see a PGA Tour professional. Agreed. Go see someone who knows what they're talking about. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, so we get the width of stance, just about, just inside the width of your hips, slightly open position. You don't have to get crazy. Most people are going to say a 50-50 position. I would honestly say for someone struggling with wedges, keep all your weight left, just like a chip shot. Just brace your weight left, stay over there, and when you swing back, stay there. Now, the thing about swinging back with any shot, there is still an arc. You can't take that away. There's still going to be an arc. So don't think about this like straight back and club face stay square aspect where you're thinking like it's a true pendulum motion. You really want to just let it arc around the body. So just visualize like a miniature arc. Very, very straightforward. It's an elliptical motion, okay? So you're just swinging within that elliptical action and just let your arms naturally roll. And then when you come through to strike, just hold. Just basically do a classic hit and hold. Don't try to flex or do anything crazy. Just roll back and unroll, or unravel as I like to tell people, but roll back, roll through. And as you strike the turf, just hold the position as best you can. You're going to have a little bit of residual movement after you strike, but just creating more of a relaxed motion is huge. But the thing is that just, again, be very careful when they start talking about this wrist stuff and like you're not supposed to do it. This bullshit. I hit shots all the time where I want to use a lot of wrist extension, but I know how to control my low point. And that's what you, a high handicapper or a low handicapper, just still hasn't gotten good at the short game, doesn't know how to do. And that's golf in general. It's just learning to control your low point plays into almost every single swing that you're going to be doing. But any Hoosiers. So we look at that and we say, holy smokes. But, this is a lot of fun. I hope we can do a lot more of this and, kind of poke fun at some areas. If you guys have any interest in me looking at something and putting my take on it, send it to me, put it in the comments, shoot me a link, DM me. We're looking for subscribers. We definitely are excited about this channel and getting our first really, in a sense, live feed kind of podcast reactionary video. But, I'm Derek White. This is Sunday Stick. There's a lot more of this coming. And, let's look forward to the Masters, right?